Hello and welcome to Winterberry Crown Making 101. I'm going to show you how to put these crowns together that are at the front desk for Winter Fair. Here's a crown that I've made. This one was all hand stitched. You do not have to hand stitch them all right? But that is our example. I do have photos of that one being made if you have steps or questions about the steps along the way, as well as written instructions. The bags at the front desk have these different parts in them or variations of. All the crowns are a little bit different, but this crown, you would have the two fronts and you'd have two backs and a piece of elastic. All right. So what you would need to do is take one of your front pieces, whatever the very front is going to be, and start to decorate it. There's extra little scraps of felt that you can cut out some different shapes and place along here. They can be hand stitched, or you could perhaps maybe not even stitch it and just put a button in the center and stitch that down, and that would hold that piece. You could even machine stitch it if you wanted to, or buy sew-on gems from Joann's and do that as well. Always make sure that you leave a little bit of room up here if you're going to be machine stitching, so that you can get the foot past anything that's raised. You would not be able to get it past a button or a gem if it was up there. So you give yourself plenty of room. And then I'm just going to move these because they're in my way. Some of them have ribbon in them, and a ribbon makes kind of a nice little accent piece along the bottom. And if you wanted to put a piece of ribbon on there, you would then leave it a little long so you can tuck it under, all right, as you sew it. And the first thing you would do would be to sew it all along the top from one end to the other. Then you're going to, once your decoration is totally done, you're going to put your two pieces together. So you have your front piece and your back piece. And pardon me as I do this with one hand while I hold the camera. And if you're going to machine stitch your ribbon on, you need to make sure that you start 1 inch in, because you need this little flap to be able to open up to put in your back piece. So you would start here, you'd go across, and you would stop 1 inch in as well, leaving that little flap available. And then you would also, when you sew and stitch along the top, whether you sew by hand or by machine, you would start about 1 inch in, you'd sew up, and come back down and stop about 1 inch out. Once that's done, you're going to work on the back piece. Here is the back piece. Now, to start this, you're going to have a piece of elastic. This elastic is 1 inch wide. That's what we have right now. It does make for really short seam allowance. So if you're uncomfortable with that, you can go to Joann's and grab some 3/4 inch elastic. You want it to be about 6 to 7 inches long. These pieces are about 6.5 inches long. And then when you sandwich it in between these two pieces of felt that go along the back, you're going to pin your elastic in two places so that the elastic here is not going to stretch later. You want that to stay relaxed for when you're sewing it to the edge of your crown, all right? So you're going to start on this end, do a long stitch this way, across the elastic, and back that way. And then you'll take it off your machine and you'll use the safety pin, which you placed in advance because you're clever, and you're going to be able to scooch that elastic all the way out the end. You're going to pull it out past the end so that you can let it relax, and do that same thing where it's pinned in between the edge and about 1 inch in so that you can sew it to your big piece. Now once you get that, I would go ahead and sew that edge. Then you can actually remove the end pin and just have that second pin in. And then you take it and you cleverly left yourself some room here. Remember that 1 inch. So you can tuck this inside there. It's going to be bunched up in the middle there, but this will be tucked in. You can, this pin will be out past where you're going to be sewing so it can stay there. And then you're going to sew it a box and then an X through the middle. And it'll look something like that. This is hand sewn, but you can machine stitch it as well. And then you'll be able to remove that pin, and then you'll do the same for the other side, and then you'll end up with a crown. And you could look up different crown patterns on the internet. Just Google Waldorf felt crowns. There's all types of ideas. You can needle felt patterns on. You can use little gems, you can hand stitch, you can embroider. I'm hoping that you're able to get these done before Winter Fair. That is the big push. If you're only able to decorate and then return it to Winterberry in time, I would be able to then stitch them up into the crown. If you just did the decoration of the front piece, that is really what needs the creativity and the time. So I'm hoping you guys can get behind getting some crowns ready for Winter Fair. It's a Winterberry tradition. And please call me if you have any questions. My number will be on the instructions. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.